What up? Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30+ your video game enthusiast, industry analyst, and today for July 15th, 2025, we'll run through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing, and answer Ultronimus's question. Actually, I guess it wasn't a question. It was a statement that was inquisitive. But yes, this was the track character selection from Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragon. So it's pretty much like the old school Double Dragon music, just modernized in Rise of the Dragons, which we're getting another Double Dragon this year. I don't necessarily know how it's going to play, but I'm excited about it. Anyway, so what do we have to talk about today? I don't know. There's stuff, though. There's stuff. Let's start with what I did yesterday. Let me change that around. All right, so gaming. Yeah, still playing around on Switch 2, but also It Takes Two. So wife and I we completed It Takes Two, 16 hours, 51 minutes. You know, this is a good game for people that don't play video games. That's what I will say. And then, me being someone that plays games as much as I do versus my wife, who doesn't, but she has some experience. It's tough, but it felt good beating it at the end. It felt good beating it. The way they did it too. It's like if you play this game with a significant other, it feeds into that. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. So next up, it's by the same Hazelight, I believe, is the studio. They have A Way Out, which is more of a prison thing with two dudes. Not sure how much my wife would care about that. But then there's the recent one they just came out with, Split Fiction, which is two girls, but in like a fictional environment, sci-fi stuff like that. So not too sure what we'll try next. I think what makes It Takes Two easy for my wife to play is that it is more of a puzzle solving game. It's more like, okay, let's pick this up and place it here. There were some times where there was some action, but she got through it. So we'll see. Okay. Legend of Zelda, The Link's Awakening. I can't believe I've already I forget what I was at, 3 or 4 hours when I originally had it, but on the Switch 2, I'm up to 10 hours. It's just the game looks so much better playing it on the Switch 2. And when the nostalgia hits, like there was times where I talked about that I was lost, like I didn't know where to go. And then there's some times where I'm like, wow, I remember this. I remember where to go exactly. And it's really cool. It's small how it's interesting how small and self-contained it is. But if you are wandering around and not really knowing where to go, it could take a while. And there's this charm to it because the world is not too big that it's easy to kind of, even though you do want to fast travel, because it's interesting to think like that this is kind of do you call it a remake, a remaster? Like I would, like what's its official title actually? If we were to look at what it's called, I think it's just called A Link's Awakening. It's not even, or The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, A Link's Awakening. It doesn't even say like remaster, remake in this new version. And I think it's smart that they did that because when you play it, I feel like it generally plays like the original to a fault. So like on this map, on the screen, I'm kind of showing where you're on a screen, and I love the depth of field everywhere, but also that there are walls. Let's see, there's another screenshot that shows what I'm talking about. Yeah, this kind of has that too. There's actually not many screenshots on here. But what happens is you have to navigate the world more like a maze. It doesn't seem like that when you're playing on the Game Boy and the way the pixels are, because it's more of, oh, I'm on this screen. Where do I go on this screen? And in this, because it's more open world and there is more freedom of movement, it does feel odd where I need to get here, but I just have to like zigzag through this random thing to get there, which again, it seems fine, but I think with modern games, with the graphics and the controls, it almost feels like it's an invisible wall instead of an actual, like where some items I can just jump when with the feather. There's some walls I can't jump over, so yeah, like there's these the pretty big knights later on that you fight that turn on when you get next to them. You can jump over their heads, and they are taller than the fence line that we see here. So I know I'm getting a little, in the weeds, but what I'm trying to get at is I think they could make a proper Link's Awakening remake that it doesn't have the constraints of what was on the original Game Boy, but it's cool to see the things in these graphics. So I guess I'm on the fence. With that. I remember A Way Out. I feel like the new one might be, yeah, I think so too. The Split Fiction. I don't think Nintendo ever says something is a remake. They just release with the same title, add the console to it, or give it a new title like Star Wars 6. Yeah, yeah. I can't say they've ever, which I think is good because it then doesn't really set an expectation. So that's interesting. All right, let's head back. Fast Fusion, just playing more of that. Totally fun launch title on Switch 2. I'm always going to remember how much fun I had with that. Okay. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to add is it is kind of a short game. I played 4 hours, 7 minutes. I haven't done the rest of the stuff, but I've unlocked all the tracks, and I haven't unlocked the last cup, which just makes it faster. It's weird that this game doesn't have just a race mode. It has like a cup where you have, each cup has like 3 tracks, and it has time attack where it's just you, but it doesn't have any sort of like just a single race, which is kind of weird because sometimes it's fun just to pick one track and then race with a bunch of people. And then the multiplayer, while that's fun and local, there's no online multiplayer. So, but it was only $15, so I think that's where they were going at here. All right, Arcade Archives 2, Air Combat 22. So this is like the first, this and Ridge Racer, which happened to be a launch title for the Switch 2, which I was surprised about. And this Air Combat 22 is so fun. It plays like, I guess, air. Oh my God, what is their combat, Ace Combat, right? Ace Combat, is that what it's called? Their line of game. Let me look that up because that's going to bother me. Ace Combat, right? Yes, Ace Combat. Okay. So I feel like this was like the original of that, and it is fun. It's just kind of like, it reminds me of a time during that time period, late 90s, early 2000s, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Air Force Delta. I don't know if you guys remember. Anyway, there's these fun air combat games that weren't simmy, but they weren't fully arcade. It was just kind of like in the middle. Yeah, Ace Combat. Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. Hey, Jam Kill X, good to see you. It was really fun to play. Anyway, it has really cool music. You jump in, and because it's like an arcade, it's like really fast. There's a lot of options. You could play Japanese version, American version. There's like just the original. And so there's a lot to this. I just don't know if there's any progression. What I do I just play to enjoy it, which is fine. It has good metal music too, so that helps. So yeah, Air Combat 22. Also, I wanted to do Ridge Racer. The thing is, since I already got Mario Kart, which I played yesterday, by the way, and I didn't mention, since I have Mario Kart and Fast Fusion, it's like, do I want another racing game right now? Even though technically they'd all 3 be different racing games. Ridge Racer is more of a traditional car, racing game. You have Mario Kart World, which is a kart racer and it's open world, and then you got Fast Fusion, which is like sci-fi. So technically you have 3 choices of brand new racing games on, which it's interesting to think. Isn't that kind of a classic thing, having the racing game come out on like the console? But and then I just think of what's going on with Microsoft and Turn 10, but Forza Horizon is good. But I guess I'm just saying I think there could be more racing games. I feel like Fast Fusion's a good example of there probably that probably didn't have a huge development budget. So they could probably get away with having that along with Air Combat 22 doesn't have a huge development budget, and that's the direction these games need to be going in. There needs to be more games that have these lower budgets. Um, okay, and was that about it? Yeah, because Mario Kart World. And what I'm doing in that right now is, I don't know. I feel like I have to do this first. I'm just trying to get everyone's costumes. I don't know why I want to do that first, but once I do that, I want to go to every racetrack and then get all the secrets. There's like, 5 or 6 question blocks, and then do the P switches. I don't know. It's fun. It does exactly what I want, where I can just jump in and whittle away at it and then go play other games that have more traditional, like Link's Awakening. Let's get to the end. Because the 17th, in just a couple days, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I can't wait. Okay, that's all for what I've been playing. Let's move into some news. Oh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to talk about this because Donkey Kong Bonanza is the 17th. I'm totally bound. I don't know yet how I want to buy it, though. Part of me, it's like I can buy it digitally, which I'm kind of, oh my God, look at these crazy virus warning. What website was this? That's insane. Where it's pretty much just froze my computer. I'll have to, wow. Isn't that incredible? Hold on a second. We got to remember this website so we can call them out. Let's see. Please let me. I don't know how I can choose the correct one. What I'm trying to do right now is, I know you guys can't see it. I am going to find that tab and try to close it. And I could close the wrong one. So let's see what that did. Nothing? That is annoying. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Wow. Okay. Very, very interesting that happened. I got to remember what video game website that is so we can call them out. And so restore close. Nope. Didn't close it on time. Gotta do it again. Oh, there we go. Insider Gaming, guys. No, it's not Insider Gaming. It is. I can tell you in just a second. So I got it fixed. I was, I guess you can't see, I was doing the Control-Alt-Delete stuff over here. Let me see if I can get that back. There we go. I want to figure out what. Is this? Yes, here we go. It was thegamer.com. You can't trust thegamer.com. Because they have malicious ads. Game okay. The Gamer. Let me just, okay, yeah, The Gamer. I want to maybe call them out on X to let them know. Let's see, and they have 92,000 followers. They're followed by big name company. I should probably let them know, hey, you can even watch my video. You guys had a malicious ad pop up. Okay, enough of that. Okay, well, yeah, we'll get to this news. Well, let me get to what I wanted to pull up. There we go. Oh, actually, something else. I know. Isn't this so annoying? I have to also then go back and pull up my chat because I had to close the chat. And this and this, and we're back. Okay. All right, guys. Oh, hey, Talos, good to see you. So just to let you know, thegamer.com has malicious ads. It just froze my Chrome and I had to restart Chrome. Okay, so what I wanted to look at here real quick is because I am, really anticipating. Wow, it's showing some more games in on the other side, so that's cool. So Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's the 17th. Is there anything before or after that I might also want to play? If there was truly nothing else, I might jump into Shadow Labyrinth. Hell Clock just sounds like an awesome name for a game. Hell Clock. I got to remember, GameStop has the worst link throughs. Okay, Hell Clock. Action RPG. Okay, this looks pretty cool. Forge powerful builds with endless loot in this relentless combination of roguelike and ARPG. Well, let's see what the roguelike part is about, but this has a demo. I'm gonna have to try it. Okay, other than that, we've got some stuff near the end of the month, but we have time until then. So, all right, let's move on. We were just talking about that. There's that. A new Guilty Gear game has been canceled, which, you know what? I never played through the last one, so that's probably my fault. The last Guilty Gear game, Guilty Gear Strive, was first released in 2021. It launched on Nintendo Switch in January 2025. Oh, did it now? Well, I've got a Switch. Maybe that's where I could play it. I think I was playing it on Xbox because it was on Game Pass. So no other news about it. Interesting. Back to the drawing board. Okay. I wonder if they're just seeing what's going on with fighting games in general. I mean, even isn't it where Street Fighter 6 hasn't even sold as much as they were hoping? Yeah, and it doesn't say that it was a mainline or not, just that they're going back to the drawing board. Yeah, the last one was 2021. I almost feel like it's got to be a mainline. That's interesting. Okay, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 reveal happening at Gamescom opening night live. So I don't really care too much about Call of Duty Black Ops 7, except for the fact that this is a Game Pass drop. This is, Microsoft kind of going through the motions. I'm kind of interested in all that. But then what is it? Gamescom opening night live. I don't even know when that is. August 19th? Okay, so that's in a month. Okay, there's gonna probably be maybe some cool news, maybe not. So here's what's interesting, because we see all these big companies canceling, going through their stuff, and it's probably best that big companies are going through these layoffs, purges, cancellations. They've been bloated for years. And I know I feel bad for people that lost their jobs, but it's not sustainable, and it's not healthy to create an environment of work for people to constantly get into that then they get laid off from. So these companies need to be doing this stuff. But anyway, I'm hoping this just means a bigger emphasis on the smaller or indie titles during these new game events that are happening for the rest of the year, just because I feel like we're not going to see big releases. And if we are, they would be like super big releases, ones that they wouldn't be canceling anyway, or maybe they gave more time. That would be interesting to see how that works out. Let's see. From Tails, the only games I'm looking forward to, because they're almost released and are not canceled, are Super Robot Wars Wine, Dying Light, The Beast. That's cool that you're into that. Yeah, Super Robot Wars. Totally forgot about that. I'm totally gonna get that. Street Fighter 6 had an uphill battle after how Street Fighter 5 did. The Championship Edition that released recently should help. Okay. Plus, lore-wise, they're trying to determine how to develop the direction they're going. Oh, yeah. That's something to keep in mind. And then seeing the interesting thing, for instance, between SNK and Capcom doing lore stuff. I could see Guilty Gear kind of like doing that too. Because then you get movies, so I think lore is just a big of a deal as you're moving a franchise forward. And I can't say I understand Guilty Gear lore, but to a degree, Street Fighter. But yeah, that's interesting stuff. Okay. Okay, Santa Monica Studio. So this is the God of War studio at PlayStation. Their next game is not sci-fi. So this is from Jason Schreier on a forum, Reset Era. I'll put it this way. It's not a new IP, but it might feel like one. Maybe that's why people are confused. Well, people are confused because we actually don't know anything other than what you say. So And the other thing, I'm sure they were working on 2 games and maybe just now 1, but I'm curious what Sony Santa Monica would be working on, if not just a God of War spinoff. Is that a big game they're working on? Is it a small game? That'd be interesting to find out. And then Nate the Hate, some third-party developers are choosing not to announce their Switch 2 games yet. So this is the first time I'm reading this. I'm really interested in what it's about. So Capcom, Sega, Ubisoft, Namco, and many others are just waiting. They have games they want to announce. Switch 2 has a lot of support coming. So that doesn't say the why. Why? This gives more evidence of a Nintendo Direct. Oh, okay. So why could be that they're saving that for, okay, let's wait for the Switch 2 to come out. Let's see how good it does. Are we going to keep this release schedule? How much of it is actually Nintendo saying, hey, don't announce anything until such and such date? Namco has already dropped those arcade archives, so we already know that they're doing Switch 2 development anyway. And Namco, Bandai Namco. The thing is, they came out with that Gundam Seed Destiny Battle Remastered in May that was only on Switch and PC. So the only home console that Gundam game came out on in May was Switch. I haven't heard, and maybe I should try it actually, but did it get an upgrade on Switch 2? I think that's just how little people are playing this game or talking about this. Well, I mean, let me look it up. Okay, Gundam Seed Destiny Battle Remastered Switch 2. All right. Switch 2 upgrade. I'm going to just put upgrade, even though that would be separate from purchasing an upgrade. I mean, look at this. Oh, the remaster. No. That doesn't work. Yeah, this sounds bad, but I feel like this is just how little people cared about that game, how little it was even marketed. I beat the heck out of it 100% on PC. I would totally get it for Switch if there was a reason to. So, well, okay. Let's move on here real quick. We were talking about this, yeah, because the Switch 2, Sega, Capcom, Ubisoft, and I'm sure what the newest Monster Hunter is probably going to get on Switch 2. Okay, Machine Games job listing suggests Indiana Jones sequel development. So that's really cool, considering that Indiana Jones game was neat, but it wasn't exactly what I liked because it was very walking simulator narrative. There wasn't a whole ton of action, I guess. And when there was, it was kind of goofy. I would just sounds bad, but I'd lure men into a closet and just beat them one by one. The game didn't really ask much of me. So that's why I find it interesting they may get a sequel. Did this sell enough between PlayStation and Xbox? Because this was something that was released on PlayStation. And is it mainstream enough where that is a good way to go about that game? That's interesting. Will I go back and beat the first? I feel like I should, just because, I guess from my generation, my age, an Indiana Jones game that looks like that seems like something I would totally want to be into. But okay, ROG Xbox Ally prices have been leaked, and they're not bad, in my opinion. So I'm going to do a translation. So the cheapest version of the ROG Ally, if you were just to convert it from euros, it would be $698 US dollars, which that's a great price considering I just paid $450/5 for the Switch 2. Something that you could do Xbox, Steam, PC, emulate Switch games for that much. And that's the base model. Now there is a more expensive model, but to me, this still seems like a good price. So around $1,000, they might even just drop it to $900 just for that marketing in the US. But again, for these new ROG allies, these Xbox ROG allies, to me, those are great prices, especially in this market, especially what you can get for that price in other places. And remember, I was able to I get qualify the purchase of the Switch 2 because there was that big Robot Spirits Big Zam I wanted that was $500. And I was like, I want this so much, but 500 seems like a lot. What's something else around the price? And I was like, oh, a Switch 2. I'd probably get more actual stuff out of playing this. And then so I kind of use that as a mental thing. I think, okay, $700 for a base Xbox ROG Ally. That sounds completely reasonable. So yeah, just I like the handle, even though I already have my own ROG Ally and it's great. I like the handles of the new one because they're following in the footsteps of the PlayStation Portal. That's what I love about competition. Okay. Yeah, that was all that. Was there anything else? Oh, I didn't even read this, so we'll read this together. I just found this article. Did you know about this strange Sonic 3 file select bug? In Sonic 3 Knuckles on the file select screen, after precisely 47 minutes, the tune changes a bit. Really? Okay. Let's see. We're listening. Let me speed it up a little bit because it said a certain time. Oh, you hear that? Okay, that's not revelatory, but it's kind of goofy. I don't think I've, as a kid, left this screen on for up to 47 minutes. But I love where this came from. What is the most useless piece of video game knowledge you know? And that is a good one. That is a very good useless one. But you know what? As useless as it is as a Sonic fan, that is the type of facts or video game knowledge I need to know. Remix time, I know. It's like, yeah, they get into remix mode after a while. Okay, you know what? I think that's really about all I've got. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is tweet at these guys and just say, hey, I was just live streaming looking at your website and one of the ads is malicious. And then I had to close Chrome. So yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. I think I was going to say like the 17th would be more exciting, but probably the 18th because of Donkey Kong Bonanza. But until then, be cool. I'll let you know if there's any other games I'm playing or anything like that until then. But all right, I will talk to you guys later.